This is a look at some of the massive water damage along the city's waterfront and islands back in 2017. It was the worst flooding the Toronto Islands had seen in decades. Water levels in Lake Ontario reached a record high, leading to damage to the tune of $8 million for the city of Toronto. More than 800 residents were affected, along with 30 businesses and 2 schools. Well, there are lessons to be learned from that unprecedented event, and they're outlined in a new report by the Toronto Region and Conservation Authority released today. The 57-page report commissioned by the City of Toronto outlines what led to the 2017 flooding and also what long-term flooding protection measures can be put in place. And it's not cheap. At the high end, it could cost up to $16 million.
I think the greater interest is looking at the flood mitigation alternatives, and these are conceptual designs. So we're at a point in time where we have some ideas on what could be done on a more permanent basis in order to mitigate flooding on the Toronto Islands. The next steps would be to have the Conservation Authority, who have expertise in flood protection measures, work, with our grants department to look at if we can find ways to access sources of funding, such as through the Disaster Mitigation Adaptation Fund, but ultimately work with the City of Toronto, to see how they would like to move forward on implementing the recommendations in these reports.
The options include a Wards Island promenade that would act as both a recreational space and a flood protection measure. The report also proposes building berms and flood walls in key areas, as well as elevating low-lying roads, which would be the highest cost. Now, it was only yesterday that the lakeshore suffered localized flooding after heavy rainfall. The levels in Lake Ontario are currently at what they were in 2017 during the peak of flooding. Now, for more on this report, as well as a breakdown of the different options, you can head over to our website, citynews.ca.